It's my last live. Might be the last time y'all see me alive. Kid in the house. Police got my house surrounded. I wish I was playing right now, but this is very serious matter. Come to pick my child up, so let me get off here and get ready to surrender.
Developing tonight, we're continuing to learn more about a 6-hour standoff in Charlotte. From Chopper 9, we could see this police presence near West Moorhead Street this morning. And our crime reporter, Hunter Sines, learned the person inside is a suspect in a sexual assault.
A Charlotte woman says she was kidnapped, beaten, and raped by a man she didn't even know. The attack happened last August.
The suspect then took his own life after a 6-hour standoff with police. The woman sat down only with WCCB Charlotte's Trish Williford to recount the day that changed her life forever.
A part of me for a long time fought in myself. I didn't know, did I advertise myself? Was I just that ugly? What did I do to deserve it?
August 29th, 2023. A man ended his own life on Facebook Live after sexually assaulting a homeless woman, a rapper, or so he called himself. That afternoon, Charlotte police showed up at a house on Columbus Circle expecting an arrest. Instead, they found themselves in a standoff. Inside was 31-year-old Jeremy Keith Asbury, armed and barricaded, with his young daughter trapped in there with him. Hours earlier, a 47-year-old woman had walked into a hospital, bruised, terrified, telling police she'd just survived a nightmare at Jeremy's hands. The same man who'd been held up in local news as a redemption story was now wanted for kidnapping, sexual assault, and aggravated assault. Police surrounded the house. Negotiators tried talking him down. Then Jeremy went live on Facebook, broadcasting his final moments to the world. And then, a gunshot. But here's what makes this whole thing even more disturbing. He'd done this before. 2015, Fayetteville, another homeless woman. Same story, gun, isolated spot, sexual assault. He got charged with first-degree rape, kidnapping, assault with a deadly weapon. Case got dismissed, witnesses didn't show up, he walked. 8 years later, allegedly, he did it again. It got me thinking, why would a normal person do such a thing? And how does someone get away with this once and then do it again? Some people said it was mental illness. Others said the system just didn't care enough about vulnerable women to follow through. Well, let's find out in this video. Because one thing is certain, the warning signs were there, and they got ignored. Look, I know this one's heavy, but these stories matter because the patterns keep repeating if we don't talk about them. If you're here for the truth, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Comment below if you have heard about this, and let us know where you're watching from. This is the life and death of Jeremy Keith Asbury.
Use a slave to my rhyme book, boy, use an inmate. Waiting on my music to drop, just like a court date.
Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City. If you've been, you know the skyline. Banking headquarters, new construction everywhere. Fast-growing city pulling people in from all over. But like most cities, Charlotte's got another side. Crime rates higher than the national average. Assaults, homicides, the kind of numbers that don't make it into the tourism brochures. And then there's the people most folks don't see. Over 2,000 homeless individuals in Charlotte at any given time, living out of cars, under overpasses, shelters when there's space available. The woman in this case was one of them, 47 years old, working shifts at a convenience store on Beatty's Ford Road, a corridor on the west side where poverty meets survival. No home to go back to, no safety net, just grinding day by day trying to make it. For most people, seeing someone in that situation brings out sympathy, protection even. But for Jeremy Asbury, that vulnerability was something else, an opportunity. And on the evening of August 27, 2023, he allegedly took it. To understand what happened that night, you need to know who Jeremy really was, not the image he sold online, the truth.
Hey, best friend, that's my best friend. That's all I can say, man. It's my best friend, y'all. Man, I'm up here looking blessed and highly favored, you heard? Hey, let me put my glasses on, because I need y'all to see me and hear me clearly. Look, I ain't doing no more mother's kissing.
Jeremy Keith Asbury was born December 21, 1991. Grew up in North Carolina. His family had ties that reached into law enforcement. Son of a former Richmond County magistrate and a correction officer, which makes what happened later even harder to process. Not much about his early years is documented publicly, but by his 30s, he found something he wanted to be known for: music. He built an online presence as a rapper, goes by the stage name Really Remy, posted tracks, did live streams, the whole thing. He wasn't pulling millions of views, but he had a following, people who connected with his message about rising from struggle, redemption, second chances. For Jeremy, music wasn't just a hobby, it was his identity. His way of rewriting the narrative, showing the world he was more than whatever mistakes were in his past. And honestly, that's a powerful thing, using art to turn your life around. A lot of people root for that story. But there were cracks in that image, shadows that hinted at something darker underneath. July 2015, Fayetteville, North Carolina. A homeless woman reported that Jeremy had picked her up, driven her to a wooded area, and held a gun to her head. She said he sexually assaulted her, hit her with the weapon, took her money, and threw away her belongings. The charges? First-degree sexual assault, first-degree kidnapping, assault with a deadly weapon. Serious, life-changing accusations. Jeremy denied everything, said it was false, that he was being wrongly accused. And then, February 2016, the case fell apart. Prosecutors couldn't reach the victim. She didn't show up. Charges dismissed. Jeremy walked free. But the question lingered. Was this really a false accusation? Or was it a warning sign nobody took seriously enough?
A part of me for a long time fought it myself. I wanted to know, did I advertise myself? Was I just that ugly? What did I do to deserve it?
For more than 5 months now, Nakia Reed has spent most of her days in a state of confusion and despair.
I cry a lot.
The 48-year-old Charlotte mother decided it is time to tell her truth in her own words, with her face in plain view for the world to see. She describes a horrific crime that happened on a hot August night. It began here in this parking lot on Beatties Ford Road and ended at a house in West Charlotte with a red door.
After the 2015 case was dismissed, Jeremy tried to position himself differently. He spoke publicly about wanting to do better. Local media even picked up on it, holding him up as someone turning his life around. He connected with community organizations, including the NAACP. The narrative was redemption, but his actions told a different story. 2017, Mecklenburg County, robbery with a dangerous weapon. He allegedly pulled a weapon at a bus stop in Charlotte. Arrested, convicted. 2018, Cumberland County. A string of charges came down all at once. Unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon, assault on a female, assault with a deadly weapon, assault by strangulation. How does someone rack up charges like that and still walk around free? Light sentences, probation, short jail stints. 2021, Iredell County, communicating threats. Another arrest, another short stay behind bars. By the time 2023 rolled around, Jeremy had 3 felonies and 3 misdemeanors on his record. A pattern of violence, especially toward women. And yet the system kept giving him chances. People who knew him said there were signs. Paranoia. He talked about enemies constantly. His live streams became windows into someone losing control, filled with warnings to people he claimed were out to get him. Community activists later suggested his behavior showed signs of untreated mental health struggles. Someone spiraling who never got the help he needed. Was it mental illness? Maybe. Did he need help? Probably. But at what point does untreated mental health stop being an explanation and start being an excuse? Because on August 27, 2023, whatever was going on in Jeremy's head exploded into something the system could no longer ignore.
We're asking Symphony, who is in custody after an hours-long standoff in Camp Green? We've learned that the suspect is tied to a sexual assault investigation in West Charlotte. In the last few hours, we learned it all started at this gas station on Sunday night in the 3200 block of Beatty's Ford Road. According to a police report, someone forced a 47-year-old woman in a car at gunpoint, took her somewhere else, and then raped her. A clerk of the gas station tells me CMPD stopped by today to check out their surveillance video. The woman was taken to the hospital with bruises and scratches. We're told the suspect is who police say barricaded himself inside a house today on Columbus Circle in the Camp Green area.
August 27, 2023, evening. Beatty's Ford Road.
A 47-years-old woman at that time, named Nakia Reed,
was waiting for a ride home after finishing her shift near the convenience store. She'd never met Jeremy Asbury, didn't know his name, had no idea her life was about to change forever. According to her account, Jeremy first approached her and made advances, offered her money for sexual favors. She declined, turned him down flat, and walked away. That's when she noticed an elderly woman struggling with a walker in the rain. She helped her across the street to her residence, then headed back to the parking lot. Jeremy came back. He pulled his car up, stopped in the middle of the street, jumped out. Without warning, he allegedly struck her, knocking her down. She fought back, hard. The two of them grappled in a violent struggle right there in the lot. She managed to break away and ran toward her workplace parking area, thinking she'd escaped. But Jeremy wasn't done. He came up behind her with a gun, pressed it to her head. She grabbed at the weapon and they fought over it. He struck her in the back of the head with the gun. Dazed and hurt, she couldn't resist anymore as he forced her into the passenger seat. Even then she tried. Hit the lock, tried to slide across the seat, but Jeremy climbed in and struck her again. Bruised, bleeding, trapped. What followed was a night of terror. Hours that would leave physical and emotional scars she'd carry forever. From the parking lot, Jeremy allegedly drove her to the back lot of a Dollar General store. That's where, according to police reports, the first assault happened. Then, he drove her to his home on Columbus Circle. Think about that. His home, where his young daughter lived. What kind of father does that? I mean, how sick could you be? Inside that home, she tried to leave evidence, bloody fingerprints on walls, on windows, anything investigators could find later to confirm her story.
In the middle of the street, and we fighting. I mean, we are fighting. Right here. Right here. The arm to his glasses was laying right there. So my last kick, I got one good kick. When I did my last kick, I kicked him in the throat and he fell. That's when I proceeded to get up, and I ran right here with an orange cap of a trailer with us. And as I'm standing like this, peeping around the front side, he came from the back side and hit me in the head with the gun. Boom. He opened the door with the key. So I said, okay, this is how. So from that point, something say, start leaving DNA.
Reed says with her bloody hands, she discreetly touched everything in her path. And then
he raped me from about 1:30 to 4 o'clock that morning. And I kept saying, okay, you done. I seen him dozing off. He took his legs and interlocked them into my legs with the gun still beside him.
Inside Jeremy's home, the woman passed a room clearly decorated for a child. For her, that added another layer of horror, knowing she was trapped in the home of someone raising a little girl while he was doing this to her. He moved her to a sparsely furnished bedroom. She described repeated assaults through the early morning hours. He kept his grip on her body, locked her legs with his, arm around her waist, the gun always within reach. She couldn't escape, not even for a moment. The hours dragged. When morning light started coming through, she prayed for her life. She told him she needed to get home for her children. He brushed her off, kept her pinned. She began to cry, pleading with God. Instead of stopping, he allegedly assaulted her again, then told her she was beautiful, that he loved her, that he wanted her to have his child. Can you imagine the disconnect between those words and his actions? It's chilling. Finally, he let her shower, but she was smart. She only pretended to wash. She kept as much DNA evidence on her body as possible, left more bloody handprints in the bathroom, hoping investigators would find them. Then Jeremy gave her a bottle of Pedialyte, put shoes on her bare feet, and led her back outside. He drove her back towards Beatty's Ford Road, the same area where this nightmare began. The woman noticed her blood still smeared across the passenger seat, on the door panel. As he dropped her off, he picked up a broken piece of his glasses from their earlier struggle, then drove away. But he made a critical mistake. He dropped her right in front of a building where a woman named Sangria Noble worked, someone who knew her, someone who would notice. And Noble, she was about to blow this whole thing wide open.
Black eye, bruises on the arm, gash in the head. So then I turned back and looked at him and said, "What did you do to my sister?"
If it had been addressed on the front end, maybe it would have prevented situations like this.
Some housing that may have lessened her chances of being abducted and victimized and kidnapped and harmed, because she would never forget this for the rest of her life.
It was around 5:30 p.m. on August 28th when Sangria Noble saw her. Sangria worked at a building on Beatty's Ford Road, helping homeless women get back on their feet. Transitional housing, support services. She knew the woman who stumbled out of Jeremy's car. And what she saw stopped her cold. Black eye, swollen face, gash across her forehead, still bleeding, bruises running up both arms, clothes torn and covered in dirt. Sangria rushed forward. "Hold up, something ain't right." The woman could barely stand. She whispered fragments through tears. Gun to her head. A stranger's hands. Hours in a place she didn't know. Terror she couldn't put into words yet. Then Sangria looked up and saw him, Jeremy, still sitting in the driver's seat, about to pull away like nothing had happened. She shouted at him, "What did you do to my sister?" Her voice cut through the afternoon air. People turned, looked. Jeremy drove off, didn't say a word, didn't even look back. Sangria immediately called 911. The woman was rushed to the hospital. Medical staff performed a sexual assault kit, documented every injury, collected DNA evidence. Police detectives were contacted right away. Later, the woman was brought back to the Columbus Circle home to show investigators exactly where she left those bloody fingerprints, the evidence she deliberately placed, knowing it might be her only chance at justice. By the next morning, August 29th, police had everything they needed. Warrants were issued for Jeremy Keith Asbury's arrest. But when officers showed up at his door, they had no idea what they were walking into.
It's my last live. Might be the last time y'all see me alive. Kid in the house. Police got my house surrounded. I wish I was playing right now, but this is very serious matter. There's one right over there in the cut in Kansas City. Come and pick my child up, so let me get off here and get ready to surrender.
Tuesday morning, around 8 a.m., Charlotte Mecklenburg police pulled up to Jeremy's house on Columbus Circle with warrants in hand. Felony sexual assault, kidnapping, assault with a deadly weapon. They expected resistance. Jeremy's record told them that much. But what they got was something else entirely. Jeremy barricaded himself inside, wouldn't come out, wouldn't communicate. Within minutes, the quiet residential street was flooded with police presence. SWAT teams, negotiators, helicopters circling overhead like something out of a movie. Neighbors came outside, trying to figure out what was happening. But here's the part that made this even worse. Jeremy's young daughter was inside that house with him. Think about that for a second. A man accused of kidnapping and sexually assaulting a woman, and now he's got his own child trapped in a standoff with police. Negotiators tried everything. Phone calls, loudspeakers. They brought in family members. His cousin Lawrence was contacted, pleading with him through the phone. A community agency got involved. Everyone was trying to end this peacefully. Hours passed. 6 hours. Jeremy refused to budge. Then, in the middle of it all, he did something that shocked everyone. He went live on Facebook. Thousands of people would eventually tune in, watching in real time as this unfolded. He spoke directly to the camera, thanked his supporters, addressed people he called his enemies, talked about his daughter being in the house, begged his cousin to come get her.
You could hear the desperation in his voice, but also the resignation, like he'd already made up his mind about how this was going to end. Police kept trying, kept negotiating, but anyone watching that live stream could feel it. Time was running out. And then, around 2 p.m., they heard it. A single gunshot from inside the house.
SWAT breached immediately, found Jeremy with a self-inflicted gunshot wound, a firearm recovered at the scene. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital, but the injury was fatal. His daughter was safely extracted from the house. Physically unharmed, died that day. Never stood trial, never faced a courtroom. The charges against him died with him. For the woman he attacked, that meant something complicated. Relief that the danger was gone, but also rage that he'd never be held accountable. That he chose suicide over facing what he'd done.
When police called you to tell you that he was dead, how'd you feel?
First, scared. Secondly, sorry. I felt at fault.
Reed is now on the road to healing. She's joined a support group and expresses her pain through writing.
In the beginning, I would put clothes on. I didn't feel pretty. Now I get in the mirror and I think I'm the bittersweet thing in this world.
In Charlotte, Trish Williford, WCCB News.
Community leaders were furious. Sangria Noble and activists like Diana Powell spoke out about the systemic failures that led to this. If stable housing had been available for the victim, maybe she wouldn't have been so vulnerable. If mental health services had been available for Jeremy, maybe the spiral could have been stopped. But the biggest failure? 2015. That Fayetteville case. Same crime, same type of victim, homeless woman, gun, assault. The charges were serious. Life-changing serious, and the system let it fall apart because witnesses didn't show up. If that case had gone to trial, if Jeremy had faced real consequences back then, would any of this have happened? Some people argue mental illness played a role, that Jeremy needed help, not just punishment, and maybe that's true. But at what point does mental illness stop being an explanation and start being an excuse? The warning signs were there in 2015, in 2017, in 2020, in 2021. Every time, the system gave him another chance. And in 2023, a 47-year-old woman paid the price for those failures. When the sun set on August 29, 2023, Charlotte had witnessed something that wouldn't be forgotten. A 6-hour standoff, a Facebook Live broadcast, a man who chose to end his own life rather than face what he'd done. Jeremy Keith Asbury's death sent shockwaves through the community, not just because of how it ended, but because of how it could have been prevented. 2 women, 8 years apart, same predator, same tactics, targeting the most vulnerable. The first case dismissed, the second ending in suicide. Neither got their day in court, neither saw justice delivered the way it should have been. For the survivor, the road ahead is long. The physical scars will fade, the emotional ones, those take longer. But her courage in leaving that evidence trail, in speaking up despite the trauma, that matters. That's what exposed the truth. This case isn't just about one man's violence. It's about every vulnerable person the system overlooks, every warning sign that gets ignored, every light sentence that emboldens instead of deters. So what do you think? Could this have been prevented if that 2015 case had gone differently? Could better mental health resources have changed the outcome? Drop your thoughts below. If this story opened your eyes to something, hit that subscribe button and share it. I'll be in the comments. Let's talk about this case and see how we stop these patterns from repeating. Until next time, remember that sometimes the people asking for sympathy or playing victims are the ones we should be watching closely. Stay safe, stay aware, and thank you for joining us today. See you on another story from the Hidden Crime Network. Bye for now.